All right, guys, so we're going to take a look at some charts here. So this is the analysis that we put out last week, and this video is just going to be a review from February 20th to February 25th, that market open, right, from that Sunday to Friday. And this is the analysis that we shared with you guys on Sunday during last week's Sunday Market Blitz. So this was pretty much the analysis that we, put out on each of these pairs, showing you guys what the potential is, what we're looking at. Now, we know off the bat, just looking back into last week, if you were trading at all, that there was a lot of news, a lot of speculation, a lot of increase in volume. So we're going to be analyzing that as well, alongside the TA and how well it fared during these market conditions. So let's take a look at DXY here. We always start off with DXY. This gives us the best outlook for the market because the dollar makes up for 80% of all trade, meaning if something big is happening on the dollar, like if the dollar is skyrocketing, increasing in value, appreciating, you're going to see that impact across most of the major pairs, especially all the pairs that are involving USD. Okay, so you're going to see that fluctuate quite a bit if the dollar's moving. So it's good to kind of understand what the trend is, at least mark it up, TA wise, very least, right? See what it's doing. That way, so we don't get caught off guard with anything. We're aware of what the movement is, what the potential is, and then we can make decisions better based on that. So we were pretty bullish here on the 4 hour. We knew that we were between a range resistance here at 96.35, 96.8. The most likely scenario is that price action will continue to be restricted between these two zones and bounce. So we're looking for it to curve out there. That was the most likely scenario. The secondary would have been a break of resistance at 96.3 with the higher low above, with some sort of continuation to the upside. So that would just be a nice continuous trend, looking to play it off nice structure points and see where we can go from there. So let's see how it played out. Okay, so this actually continued to range. It curved out a little bit more of a flat movement here, and then we got a nice double bottom, good exhaustion, nice rejection. Then here's that volume. So the dollar appreciated. A lot of money was being moved out of other major currencies and into the dollar because it is a safe haven currency. So it, in times of uncertainty, a lot of people choose the dollar. So you'll see this skyrocket due to last week's events, right? Now it's pulling back, trying to form normal structure here. At least that's what we're looking for. So we'll be looking for higher lows just above 96.38. This is our next zone. So all eyes are on this, and we'll reanalyze and play it accordingly. But yeah, I mean, huge volume overall. It did follow the secondary trade scenario here, but complete lack of structure, right? This is not a clean break and retest. This is just an absolute break towards, and then it took off towards resistance. So that's DXY. Let's move over to AU. First tradable pair. Okay, and the overall trend here was bullish. We were sitting at resistance at 0.72. So we're expecting either this to continue bullish. So we're looking for the next higher low and then nice conviction to the upside. Or we wanted to see this kind of a ascending pattern here fail at this key level of the pattern, 0.7145. Wanted to see that break, spot some sort of lower high below that, and that would be the first step for us to start considering short opportunities. So let's see how this played out. Okay, so we consolidated a little bit more right at resistance. It finally broke, failed to get a higher low. So this is more or less a fake out, just a nice impulse move to the upside. And then price action came back pretty hard. So this is that news we were talking about. AU and DXY are inversely correlated. So if the dollar is moving up, you'll see AU move down to some degree. And that's what this is here, right? So we had a first break, push to the upside, and then here's the news. Brought AU down as the dollar was skyrocketing, right? We came all the way down to 0.71. We wicked that here, then saw body closure at this minor level again, 0.7145, where we wanted that original higher low in the past. So we got that. Again, there's more volume here. It's following news. Not really much of a trade. TA-wise, we were expecting it to play out like this in some way, some sort of higher low, good structure, continuation. But for now, I think it's smart that we just kind of let it simmer, reanalyze, look for higher lows above 0.72 to see if it's really going to stay bullish and hold above. Then we could target 0.73 this next week. Okay, and then this trade path still holds true as well. We're looking for a 4-hour higher low to break before we can consider it bearish, because that's what we need to see to confirm a transition. So we're still looking bullish. We'll reanalyze this later today and share with you guys more analysis on the Sunday Market Blitz. So that's AU. Let's jump over to AJ. So this one, we were actually between two major levels, 81.5 as support, 83.25 as resistance. So this was a pretty wide distance between these two zones. So we had a lot of room to play here. We had seen price action find support here, rocket all the way to the weekly, come all the way back down to 81.5, go back to the weekly. So we've been bouncing for a little bit, right? And there are some trades between this zone, the most likely being this one, which is we're going to push lower, see a lower high, and then continue back down towards 81.5. That was what we were looking at, really. If this were to go bullish, we're looking for a break of 83.25. So price action has to pop up, pull back, give us a higher low. Nice confirming setups, enter on that and target higher. So these were the two likely scenarios. Let's see how it played out. Okay, we failed to get the lower high here, so there was no execution on this short position. Okay, instead it pushed back up, attempted break at the weekly, failed, came back down, pushed a little bit lower, but we weren't going to get caught on this. Obviously, we still were waiting for that confirmation of a lower high, failed to get that here. Instead, it came back up, tested weekly again, which is where price action closed on Friday. So this is a little tough to see. In my opinion, both of these trade scenarios are still very much in play. This just represents speculation, this huge volume here. That's all that is. So I'm still very much looking for a higher low above the weekly or a lower high below this 82.65 zone. So we'll see into the next week. I'll definitely have a lot to say about this tonight on the Sunday Market Blitz, so make sure you stick around for that. We'll see what we could spot on AJ. So let's jump over to UJ here, see where we're at. We were very bullish here on the 4-hour. Nice steady trend, good characteristics of a bullish trend, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, up until this point. So we'd gotten the most recent test of 115 here, and then we were making a move to the upside. It failed to really follow through. We do have nice conviction on this candle, but more or less this just kind of, flattened out here, curved out, and started pushing lower. So if you guys can see these three highs, these are now lower highs leading up to 115, which is hinting at a break, right? That's not what you want to see in a 4-hour bullish trend. So price action was last week was here, resting at 115, and very simply, we're looking for either a continuation of this, right, the next lower high. So a push below 115, spot the lower high, enter short, target lower towards 114.15. However, if it did pop above and start to reject off 115, we're looking for a higher low above 115.35. Okay, and then we'd have nice confirmations in there, good confidence in a long setup, and we'll target higher towards key resistance levels. So how did this play out, right? Did we go to the upside? Did we go to the downside? Let's see. Okay, so we went to the downside for a little bit, popped lower, came back up. We started consolidating. Now, this would have been great for a lower high. It was honestly following exactly what we wanted to see up till this point. And then once we hit 115, it just flatlined. It's like almost above it, right? Then there's like how many dojis in here? Remember, this is the 4-hour. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dojis. 7 dojis. That's not a clean break and retest, right? That shows that there's dead volume and that something is, imminent. Right? And then here comes the volume. It steps in. Feel really too much volume, not a clean lower high. I would have passed on this trade. And then it would have paid off, patience and intuition, because look what happened. It pulled right back above 115. Now we did a quick retest. Again, this isn't the clearest price action. We need to see a little bit more. So I'll, again, reanalyze this one. But, right now it looks like it's going to be going bullish. So we'll have a nice long opportunity mapped up and see if it's going to play out this week. But that's UJ. Let's jump over to EJ, and then we're going to finish up with gold. So EJ was tricky. This one was kind of low on my list just because of the lack of structure and the high volume, right? So we had this huge rally here. Okay, we tested this level of support after we broke it, 131.45. We saw a nice ascending triangle. Price action pushed up to the weekly, 132.65, rejected from there, broke back through minor support, and then actually retested this minor support as new resistance. So this is actually a nice transition. Okay, we broke support, right? Came back up, got the lower high. Great transition. So we're pretty comfortably bearish at that point. We're moving lower. We saw that we were at 130 last week. So the likely scenario was that it was going to continue bearish, break back into this range here, where we would then look for a lower high to potentially short on, or we're looking for rejections at this point at 130. Now, I mentioned last week I'd like to see some consolidation first, let things calm down a little bit, and then see the transition and start to move back to the upside so we can get into a good risk reward trade. Okay, but I mean, with this volume, that's really just like wishful thinking. So let's just see how it played out. Okay, more volume. I mean, we knew this was going to happen because of, the news and all the analysis we did up to this point. But, let's see how the analysis fared, right? Price action broke through 130, came back up, kind of met these prior highs. Nothing in there yet. We finally broke 130. No sign of a retest, right? This thing just dumped. That's the speculation. That's the news. This thing just tanked, hit 130, started pulling back, found some support there. And now we're back around the 130 area. So this is going to look very familiar when I go to reanalyze this week. If anything, it's looking like an expanding pattern. So if I were to draw a trend line from these highs and these lows, you could just see the volume is increasing, but we're still technically bearish. So this will be interesting to see this next week how this one will go. But again, it's probably not going to be too high on the list. EJ kind of had its movement, back here with really good structure. We had tons and tons of trades all in this. With this high volume stuff, it makes it a little more tricky. So it's definitely low on the list for me. And I can already tell into the next week it will be. Okay, so let's jump over to gold, see where we've been at on this one. And I did the analysis on the daily here because there was something a little concerning to me. I thought this was a bit overextended, right? I mean, we had a nice steady channel here, nice bullish channel, higher highs, higher lows, good characteristics of a healthy trend. Okay, but this here, right, when we started to rally, this was fine, whatever. We saw some resistance here at 1865, perfect. I would have liked to see it pull back and give us some sort of higher low. Instead, this thing just kept trucking, kept taking off, skyrocketing to the upside. So the trade scenarios that we had marked up were either a higher low above 1865, or we're looking for it to break back into the zone, spot a lower high, and then short it. Either way, I wanted to be super patient with this one because, again, I mean, it's due for a pullback, right? This thing is up here, man. So let's see how it played out. Okay, and then look what happened. So because of all this news and whatnot, whoops, we were up here. We're waiting for a pullback. Instead, price action just took off. We had this huge ripsaw candle. Look at all that volume, guys. This candle, this wick is massive. So that's, what is that? 1975, let's call it, down towards, we could even round it up to 1910. So that's 650 pip wick. That's absurd, even for gold, And again, this is the daily, so it's not like we're zoomed in on a lower time frame and this looks exaggerated. This is the daily time frame. So it was a better choice to wait, because we needed this thing to kind of get whatever energy was out of its system. Speculation hit, hopefully it just kind of flatlines for a little bit, starts to form some normal market structure, and then we can capitalize, hopefully this week. Okay, so that's gold. Interesting. So that's gold. Covered all of these guys, DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, Gold. And again, this is the review from the week of February 20th to the 25th. This is all the analysis for that. Tonight, we will have a fresh new analysis. We're going to be doing a brand new Sunday Market Blitz, as always. And we'll pretty much tear down the market and share with you guys our ideas. So join us then. But until then, thank you guys, and peace.